Right, well, it was difficult to know where to start because we've been doing this for what seems forever. This is Hamilton Grammar School. It's a nice picture looking down on it. It's an old building, but it's set right in the heart of Hamilton, and it serves a number of areas. A lot of the kids who come to us have special needs. We've got a CDE unit, we've got ASN kids, and we've got a behavioural unit as well. So we really have the full range of kids that you'd expect in a secondary. Going way back, I had a wee presentation that said this all started when we actually did QIs, so your inspectors will be quite happy. And we got to one that said, are you making good use of the outdoors? And we went, no. And we didn't know anything about it. So we went out and we started work. We started working with eco schools about 7 years ago as well. And we've been through 3 green flags. We installed a garden area, and a polytunnel and all sorts of things. But unfortunately, when the school modernisation programme took place, they took it all away. So we're now starting again. So we'll talk about resilience. We had a polytunnel that was burned down. We had a garden area that was taken away by school modernisation. We don't give up either. And that's one of the things, you just got to keep going. Okay, so we're putting a garden back in again. And we're gradually improving our grounds, starting from scratch. And these kids here, they're from our ASN unit. It used to be a special school. And I get the pleasure on a Monday morning, first period, of meeting up with 2 parents or grandparents, and my first period in the day is to go out with my group of kids and start working in the environment right away. And what a difference it makes to these kids. They really look forward to them. I saw them period 6 and they were doing arithmetic and they weren't very happy. Okay, so there they are there. And then I have to change back into my suit quickly for period 2. And we're just going around the whole thing, planting trees, planting bulbs, cleaning up a garden, just making use of the resources we had. And what we loved with the polytunnel was a lot of our kids have behavioural issues, and they're murder when they're stuck in a class. Absolute murder. They feel like they're caged animals. Get them outside and they change altogether. When they're outside, they're like different kids. They love doing this kind of stuff. And you can see these are our standard kids here who, when you take them outside, become much more friendly. And this is what was our polytunnel. The school has now become so enmeshed with this kind of thing that despite the fact their polytunnel had disappeared and was dismantled and taken away, they have now, out their allocation of funds, bought us a new one. Okay, so learning in our local grounds, and very quickly that extended into an environment club, and also learning in the community, because as part of our week, we go out to local nurseries, we go out to local primaries, and we help them in their ground. So you can see some of our kids working at Hollandbush Nursery here, and painting things, and generally doing improvement. That led to more demand. The kids want to do more of this. That is one thing that comes across. The kids want to be outdoors. They want to be doing things. They don't want to be sitting in a class, putting some seeds in a cup, when you're in biology, you can put some seeds in a cup, or else we can go outside and we can put some real seeds into real ground. Or if we're doing bulbs, instead of having a couple of bulbs in a pot and sticking in a windowsill, let's go outside, let's do the real thing. Okay, so demand grew, and we eventually had to start taking them on challenges, which we hadn't done before. John Muir was one of the ones we elected for, took them up to Cairngorms Plateau. That has now extended. The Curriculum for Excellence has given us a real opportunity, because under the Curriculum for Excellence, we are trying to extend this whole challenge. And the plan for this year is to have the whole of S1 doing the Discovery Award, the sort of starter award, in our school grounds. First of all, the school had a global warming week. Now, it was very easily arranged, because basically it was a case of, as the kids went round departments, different departments looked at different aspects of global warming. All right, so geography looked at weather systems, science looked at the data, modern studies looked at the possible effects in societies, RE looked at the moral responsibilities, and as the kids went round, it didn't involve any timetable changes, but they built up a more three-dimensional view of what this was. Okay, another group of kids worked out their personal carbon footprints. They saw their personal contribution to this process. And the whole thing about this is trying to take a concept like global warming and make it personal and make it real. So by seeing their own carbon footprint, they had an idea that they were contributing to it. As well as that, we looked at the carbon footprint for the whole school. And we saw the kind of carbon output as a whole school. And because of that, we decided to start to do some things which were direct action. Some of them are pretty obvious, and I'll come to the one that wasn't obvious in a minute or two. First of all, cutting down our waste, cutting down our energy, getting involved in recycling are the kind of standard things. So all the things I've got, switch off lights. We now have recycle bins at every single class and every single open space in the school. But the one which really made an impact, I think, was this idea that we tried to offset some of our carbon. Doing everything we can at home, cutting down the energy, we thought, well, we've done everything we can in our school, but one of the pupils came up with this great idea. Maybe we could offset some of our carbon. And this will lead into this idea that in a secondary school, it's important that people are talking to each other. Okay, we worked out, first of all, how much we're putting out, and one of the schemes was that we could maybe get involved people in buying carbon offset certificates. Okay, so we started off with our fundraising activities. The kids start to buy in at this point because it becomes a bit more personal. So we started bingo nights. There's Nancy Arjani. She does all this herself, the one on the right. She gets all the prizes, she arranges the bingo ball, she gets all her friends along. We have big fundraising nights. We organise car boot sales to recycle some of the stuff in people's houses, but also raise money. Okay, and we started this enterprise activity where the pupils in the school were going to market certificates of sponsorship to companies round about. We worked out that £90 an acre, they would then be able to take up a certain carbon out of the atmosphere. That was coordinated by Marcus McGowan. We went to companies. This was the first company that bought it, was Shoe. We gave them a certificate. That was only a single sign instead of double sign. But we ended up with about 12 or 13 companies who all purchased certificates of sponsorship, all guaranteeing that they would take out 417 kilograms. The sums were involved, the calculations were involved, in maths, geography being involved in this as well, and now we're into enterprising work. Okay, last year we raised £5,000 just with all the things we were doing, including the enterprising event, and that all went to Ghana, where it bought or helped to fund the planting of 50 acres. Part of the key to this is this idea that we all talk to each other. Here I am actually in Ghana, and this is one of the mango trees which has grown a fair bit. It's a previous one, but we went round and we thanked the companies personally for what they've done. So you can see there's a few companies there. We've got an enterprise award for an innovative approach as well. And this is the people who really matter. I think this is what makes a difference. In our school, we've got a number of people. The key to it is a thing that we developed called our worldview. And the worldview is, we had people who were in an international committee, and we had our eco-school committee, and we had a citizenship committee, and we had an enterprise committee, and each little committee was doing their own thing. Now what we do is representatives from all the committees come together and talk about their ideas, and then we can see how we can help each other out. For instance, this carbon offsetting issue, is it an international issue? Well, you bet you it is, because it links with our partner school. Right, this year we had our partners from Ghana over in our school. Is it an environmental issue? Yes, it is, because we've got the carbon offset idea. And a lot of new ideas have come about because of this world vision, or the world view we've got. Okay, so we're currently doing HIV peer education. Is that a health issue? Yes, it is. Is it an international issue? Yes, it is. So they cross cut in terms of the themes. And it's this kind of thing that the kids buy into. Having an idea or a concept about global warming, oh yeah, okay, they kind of get the idea. They understand this is a bad thing. They don't want to upset the balance of the world, but they don't quite buy into it at a personal level. When they get to know the kids who will be affected by global warming and feel that they know them personally, they then start to get galvanised into action. Because now they can see a face. These kids here will be the ones who will be affected by global warming. They're on the equator. They're going to be one of the first groups to be affected. So what are we going to do about it? Let's do something. And all of a sudden you've got kids who you would think maybe wouldn't be too to concern, really buying into it. And you say, well, see the poor wee wains, they're getting affected by the things that we're doing here. What are we going to do about it? Okay, so with the money we've sent, we've helped an orphanage, we've had a little primary school built, a little nursery school, sorry, to start these kids in their education. We've helped to plant the mango farm in that region, and the mango farm is offsetting the carbon, but at the same time, the funds from that, or the goods from that, are directly helping these kids. We've now formed, and here that's them now in school. These kids who are orphans were formerly left to die. The kids understand that. They know that these kids are now directly influenced by our actions. They're now at not only nursery school, they're now going to primary school, and the idea is that the secondary school links that we've got with this region, the head teacher was over this year, the kids met them, the kids were quite overwhelmed by that experience. Okay, HMI visited us last year, and this was the thing which I was most pleased about, was the fact that this kind of work is being recognised. It's not just all about working towards an exam, how many passes have you got. This kind of stuff is real education, right? So they're involved in eco-schools, engaged in charity initiatives, the Global Citizenship Programme, working with Ghana, all of that stuff is now getting recognised, and I was absolutely over the moon on that. Okay, the secret of our success, I think, is this Worldview initiative. Okay, it was listed as a major strength of the school, and it gives the kids the opportunity to learn from each other, develop leadership skills, become effective contributors. On the back of that, there's been a lot of recognition of the work we've done. We've now got 3 eco-school flags. We are hoping to go for permanent status at some point. We've got international gold, we've got enterprise awards, we've got sustainability awards, and more importantly, for me, the kids are learning real issues, they're solving real problems about real people, they're thinking about them, and they're coming up with solutions which actually do something. To me, that's curriculum for excellence.